I know what you mean. But if everybody knew you for 40 years like I've known you and been around you, they would see it the same way.
Hmm.
But
And
but
see,
this is
we
the
don't.
first time I saw him, and you know what he said? I heard him tell that man he loved me. See, that's the way it comes out of another mouth.
Hmm. And
See,
you
that
know,
mouth may not be mature in the
Well, you know,
head as Christian as you
you
are.
take my friend here, Tuck. I have known Tuck less than 6 months, and he become one of my best friends. Not because he gave me some things, he been pretty sweet to me.
Mm.
But the point I'm trying to make is, I understand what it means to have character.
Right.
Even though he don't want to give up no women and all that kind of stuff, Brother Pruitt. But everything he says is tempered by what I have studied in the Bible. That's the way I've always done it. I mean, you know, I can go to Ecclesiastes and all this stuff that he's trying to get over to the young men that he'll mentor is right there in Solomon of how to get it done. So he did pick up some things when he was coming up, and his sisters and his mother and them was teaching him.
Yeah.
He picked up some things.
We said he did.
But we saying that. But what I'm saying is, if we would just call on him, he'll do the rest. We really not as smart as we think we are. I mean, we think we got this thing going on. I'm talking about man. See, and you're right to this extent. We're having this problem in Washington D.C. right now. Obama think he's smart enough to handle this. Well, it takes more than smart. You got to relate to the people on the other side of that aisle. You see, and that can be an issue, and it can just go on and on. But to stay on track, brother Chuck, I just believe that we are where we are now, doing what we want to do, and brother Pruitt just demonstrated that people gonna think what they want to think based on their background
Right.
and the influence they've had in their lives, and ain't nothing we can do about that. Now we what we do is keep working.
let me run this by you, and I just thought about this the other day. You know, we we talk about change. You know, we want things to be different in our community, but is it what we want versus what our community wants?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm
you
saying.
know, some people are content where they are, and we're trying to force our values and our beliefs on them, and we know people are different. So is it us or is it them?
Well, I get want and need. They're different. People may never want what they need, and they may never need what they want. So, in trying to fill a void, we got to find out what the need is, because the want is maybe something I never expect to do anyway. See, and somehow our foreparents had that intuition about them that they knew what you needed. And the only way they knew that was either through their love for you. And if love is out front in anything that you do, the response going to be right all the time if you can put love out there. If a child loves his parent, before he yells back at them, love would reach out there and soften that. And say,
Exactly.
it would reach out there. Or fear. In my case, it was fear. Because if I had ever, my mother had 14 boys, no girls. I've never seen one of my brothers raise their hand or talk back to my mother or father. I've never done it. It if it did, there would have been some dead kids in that
Yeah,
house.
absolutely, absolutely.
Now the closest that we got to it, one of my brothers, he's 3 years younger than I am. My mother had very long Indian-like hair, and he was an alcoholic, and she had it plaited, and he was just shaking it one Sunday morning. And she said, "Boy, leave my hair alone." I kept hearing that. We were sitting in the living room. She said, "Y'all better come get this fool." And and I just heard the skillet. You know, I had that sound. She had knocked him out, hit him right up there, knocked him out. See, I still feel that about them. my mother had said she had these laws that you don't get grown in this house. As long as you live in this house, you don't get grown. And I was over 30, but she let you know when you're in her house, she was still.
But the modern day, the kids run the house.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
The kids dictate what goes on in the
Oh,
house.
they dictate the temperature, the menu, the agenda, everything.
Because it wasn't no turning up the heat, turning down the air conditioner. You didn't do none of that. You didn't even turn the
Put another
TV.
blanket on the bed. Oh, you get another
You,
blanket.
you didn't even turn the TV on, turn
No,
the channel.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it was either playing inside or you playing outside. You ain't going back and forth in the house. I remember all those
Yeah,
things.
you don't track in the house. No.
Well, I'm seeing two things here. It goes back to the original statement we made. First thing we do during that period of time where we lost respect, we turned the reign of our children over to someone else.
Yeah.
In other words, we turned the run of our family over to someone else. And those things have had a real huge effect on the people that were already struggling with issues.
Right.
That just added fuel to the fire. And so we really got to get that back. And talk you much younger than we are. And when you go to talking about you doing it, the real deal is, Brother Pruitt, the people that are still doing it the way it was done, they still getting the same results. Take Rosemary.
That are still doing it. Yeah, yeah.
The people that are still taking over and being in charge of their household.
Yeah.
I could name young ladies that are doing it. You can, and
you can see it in their children.
You can see it.
Our family members.
Our family members.
Parents and family members were pretty close together. I was telling the lady the other day, I was at a funeral, and the boy had lost his father, and one of those said, "That's all right, son. You gonna come and stay with your dad's brother and me." That was, yeah. Just pulled him up out of his moaning and groaning. A young boy, 12 or 13 years old, parents dying, and he don't know where he's going. Boy, what assurance I see now. I didn't think much of it when I saw it, but I thought about it the other day. What a mighty, mighty, mighty band that must have been for his life, for her to reach out and say, "You're going to get your clothes and come stay with us."
Wow. I once had a friend, she was a school teacher, and she told me, you can see in a child, the child who goes to church versus the child that doesn't. They don't have to tell you, but you can see it in them,
Yeah.
And going back to what you were saying is a want versus a need.
Right.
And I guess then we're misdirected on what we need versus what we want.
Right.
And we go after what we want versus what we need, but we can't change that.
Right. And if we don't get what we need, we never feel anything. See, want won't feel it, need will. And it stays vacant.
And it goes back to my original statement that, small accomplishments lead to big accomplishment. We try to grab it all at once, just one step at a time. I tell my daughter all the time, and she tells me I'm hard on her. Every time you try to go all the way to the top, I'm bringing you all the way back to the bottom. We're gonna hit each step. Case in point, she was talking about she's going to the movie. Okay. She's already at the movies in her head. Do you have anybody? No. Who's taking you? I don't know. All right, you done missed 2 steps already.
You're still going to the
but
movie.
you're still going to the movie. So every time, and every time we see people, skipping steps, we need to bring them back. Come on back down here. Okay, now you got to get some money. You got to get a ride. What time is the movie? These things have to be thought out. We're not doing a lot of thinking. It's just all impulse. It's just boom. And
Well, I think one thing that we're doing that, because I like what you just said, but we got to keep saying it. Somebody here. See, somebody in this radio audience today heard one of us. You got to keep saying it. And me, for example, I went to all white. I integrated white school. Only went on the football team and all that. But I went down there and I did what I was supposed to do when I was supposed to do it, and went home. And I didn't have any trouble. Because if you would act like